Isn't that miserable? But it's gone before I have to go out next. Fuck this country. It is 10 o'clock at night. I've been up since about 3. Um, that's how long it took to watch a bunch of vlogs and upload them, do the write-ups, all that kind of thing. What did I guess I lost the weekend? Yeah, I guess when I work at it, I lost Friday, Saturday, Sunday to the vlogging. It could be worse, right? Um, but that's up, I guess I got up, 19, no, sorry, it was 20, 21, 22, 22, 23, and then 24. So, and in fact, I've got the resetting done until the end of November. So, I am going to go ahead and get that in motion once those ones are uploaded. Right now I'm going to get something to eat, and am I going to get to mixing? I might prioritize the vlogging. I don't know. Because, I mean, if I get all the vlogs done, then I can just put them aside, right? But then again, they're, you know, like, I don't really think there's anything to do there, right? So it's like, yeah, no, there's no. I gotta wait for that to upload, and when it's done uploading, then I can put the next batch through. So that didn't make any sense. I gotta get something to eat. I gotta make some pasta. I expect I'll get back to mixing when I'm done. We'll find out. Well, it's 3 a.m. I've just been chilling. But now I am going to come in here and try to get some listening done. I feel like it's a little bit mellow. That's the better way to do this. Just, you gotta wait a few minutes, a few hours, as it may be. I'm good to go. Okay, so with the vocals, this is the vocal mix of Boogeyman, finally. I initially did 5 takes. When was it? I don't know, a couple of nights ago. And I was gonna cut them up and pick out the ones that I wanted. But I started realizing that none of the takes really sounded. I mean, I'm not a singer. If I did it enough, like if I did like 50 takes, I'd get a good takedown. But I decided like what I was trying to do is I was trying to get kind of like a like a munchkin-y or like a. It's not even the right idea that I'm thinking of. It's more like. Well, okay, so I want the chorus to be like. I'm just having difficulty coming up with words as to what it is that I'm trying to describe. Um, I kind of want the feeling of like an old 30s film, right? Um, the thing that's coming to my mind is Jules Verne, but it's not. There's no real connection to that other than that that's something that you associate with, old timey films, right? Maybe 30s is a little because I'm thinking in color. Some 40s or 50s even maybe might be um, kind of a better concept, but just the I guess what I'm trying to articulate is that period where film was still kind of like theater, right? Because they hadn't really separated the ideas of like film nowadays puts a lot of emphasis on being real, right? Sorry, I was doing a calculator. I want to do a real time mix too here. But older films kind of kept that concept of non-reality and just that kind of just playwright aspect to it, right? But I mean, I'm not talking about an old play. Like I am talking about film too, right? So there was that specific period, and like I can't date it well, but it was like 30s, 40s, 50s, where that separation was still there, right? Sorry, it just came around my ears, kind of. And so what I ended up doing, instead of doing one vocal mix with just 5, I thought maybe I could get that effect by just doing kind of a single high-pitched voice, but I wasn't really hitting the notes as well as I wanted to, and like I said, I didn't want to. I guess it was initially just an experiment, right? I was gonna see what I can do with what I had, and then, do another take in the morning. But I kind of like the idea of just separating them all, right? So I now have a chorus of voices. There's 5, or is there 6? There's 6. And I've then pitch shifted each of them, right? So they're at 6 different points in the stereo spread, and they're doubled with an octave pitch shift of in each spot in the spectrum, right? So it kind of has the effect of like a child's voice behind an adult's voice too, right? Which is kind of an added aspect to it, because this is a part of the reason why I wanted to do this is because it was like full circle, right? First song, last song. Let's spin that all the way around, kind of thing. And it kind of takes that aspect of it, right? Kind of like it doesn't sound like a child's voice. It sounds like a digitally modified voice, but still, you get the kind of idea, right? And it's taking the same kind of stereo spread idea that I played with. I haven't settled on the background yet, but I have settled on the vocal. So what I'm doing here is I'm mixing the vocal soundscape right down into one file, so that I can do things like put echoes on certain parts of it and kind of cut it up. Otherwise, it would be very messy. Easiest thing to do is just take this, I guess it's 12 tracks, and just bounce it down into one, but I'm putting that off into a separate project just so it's aside, and then I can remove it out of the main project just for clutter, right? So, something else that I haven't really talked about with this, though, or maybe I did talk about this, didn't I? We talked about quadraphonic sound at some point a couple of days ago. This is just kind of another take on that, right? Like I say, I've got 6 voices and 6 different. I've got left, right 50, and left, right 25, right? And you can imagine that, if I had them set up in speakers, right? Or, it's voice, it's a vocal, right? You can think of it as a choir. Maybe I'm running a score for this, but if you did have them there, right, like that, it would be a choir of 12 people. Just at 6 different spots in the stereo spread, and they'd be octaving each other. Or if it was for a loudspeaker, you'd want to set up a stereo surround speaker like that, right? And if I had 6 speakers, I think that I could. All these other mixes that are all taking advantage of the stereo spreads as well. A 6 speaker setup would be just about what I wanted. Although, if I was going to redo this for multiple speaker setup, I would probably add extra parts. I'm going through this process because I actually expect that. I say expect. I don't expect at all that I'll actually get a chance to do it. But I'm going to put it right up that this could be performed in a loudspeaker setup. You could get live musicians to do it, right? You need a DJ, but you could there's no reason why you couldn't get live musicians to do this. And I'm gonna put that out. I'll talk a little bit more once it's all finished. It'll be a part of the liner notes. But that's what we've done with the vocals. That is the base of the vocals, and it's done. I want to put some backing vocals in, kind of a "don't look behind you," And I mean, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm gonna edit it, right? So there's gonna be, if you listen to the initial version of the track, there were actually some heavy flanging effects and some echoes. I'm gonna try to emulate that a little bit. It won't be exactly the same. I don't want it to be exactly the same. That was a part of the problem, was that it was overpowering, right? But I want to get the kind of idea back in there. And I'm not gonna like line up the files. I'm gonna wing it. I might check afterwards, see if I missed something, but I'm gonna wing it. And as far as the actual soundscape in the back goes, that may end up being a little bit more challenging. But at the same time, see, I'm trying to avoid doing too much compression because I want it to match up relatively well against the album version at the end, right? I've done enough of this now that I can say that there is going to actually be two mixes. I'll do an instrumental mix of what I'm doing here, because it is going to differ relatively substantially. And I mean, I am thinking about doing overlay effects and stuff. Like I'm not gonna. I initially wanted to just paste a bunch of files on top of each other, kind of thing. I don't think that that's the best way to do it. I think that I'm going to want to be fading and shaping a little bit. There's certain parts where I'm going to want a higher equalization section. So really, all those generated mixes are kind of. I was talking about picking one, and then it was, instead of picking one, let's mix a bunch together. Now it's like I'm going to be like, it's more like that. That's source material to build a new collage around. So, I mean, I may retreat from this, but presuming that gets done, we're looking at two mixes, and I'm gonna have to. I guess I'll bounce the alternate vocal mix down to a bonus, just so there's space on the disc. So I've got some shape for this. I've got an idea, and if I can finish this and then eat, that's my goal. We'll see if my stomach lets me get that far, but that's what I'm thinking. Okay, I actually think I got this. Let's put some mild. I just wanted kind of just a mild delay, right? I think that's really all I needed there. Just in the light night part, and it was pretty quick. So that left the background version to do, and I think the problem I'm having is that because I'm piling all of these things on top of each other, I'm getting a lot of cancellation up at the top. I think that's what's happening, and it's just more saturation on the bottom. So I fixed that by putting the bus through a low pass and then mixing that in, right? So it's kind of pretend fancy, because I mean it's all digital routing, but if I had a fancy board I could do that, right? So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just gonna let the is there interference? It sounds better when I replug them in. So maybe, I don't know. It's not overpowering, but I think it's there. So I'm just gonna let that sit out for a bit. I'm gonna go take a walk, and when I come back, hopefully it's cleared down enough. If that's good, then the last thing I have to do is just do a very, very mild background vocal part. Don't look behind you. And then we're done. Yeah, I got the backing vocals in, and I'm just about certain on this. Just a few more listens. I'm gonna get my blanket shield going on. There is interference. It's clear. See if I can get enough of a shield to get a couple good clean listens in. But I think this is good. I think it's good. Okay, I am legitimately pretty sure about this. So I'm gonna export it, track for clicks, all these kinds of things, but I'm not gonna finalize it until I get some blood sugar in me. I don't wanna do a reopen and reclose, because I wanna save it in this state. So we'll go through this, and then I'll come back after, and we'll check after I've eaten. It's 6:30 a.m. I guess I'll be back around 8 or so. Something to eat after I've gotten something to eat, just to check to see Um, it's interference, but I mean, I find that when I'm hungry, I may even wait until the morning before I upload it. We'll see. But I'm pretty sure it's done. We seem to have been hit really bad with the snow overnight. Well, I heard it and saw it come in. It's Canada in the winter. The forecasters were calling for a classic winter, which means hell to all Canadians. We all know it. Get a shot in here. It's better with on. It's actually probably better with it off. It's not so bad. You can still see the. If you can still see the grass, it's not bad. But it's a decent dump. It's a snowstorm. It's winter, for sure. But 8 o'clock. I'm done eating. I'm gonna try to listen to these mixes. I've got a vocal mix and an instrumental mix. I'm actually even gonna wanna, instead of taking that second vocal version off at the end, what I'll probably do is take the album version off the single, because the album version, and like the only difference between the album version and the 2015 reconstruction is like a 2-second fade in, right? So that was, I mean, I put them both on because there was space, but if there's not space anymore, then I'll take one of them off. What I'm going to need to be determining, though, is whether I'm going to want to replace this with the instrumental version. Pretty much everything else that I did, well, let's just listen to it, right, and see which one, see what sounds better. I'm really 50-50 right now. It's not at all clear. Part of me wants to maintain the consistency of having all of the instrumental versions. And I mean, I think I updated pretty much everything, right? So when I added extra parts to Schizoid, when I added extra parts to Confused, the final version ended up on the record. There's counter examples though, like when I did the Useless single, it's the slowed down version, or the Hey God single is the forwards version, and etc. Right? So, the album mix doesn't necessarily have to be the same as the vocal mix. But I mean, those ones didn't have vocal mixes, and the other versions, like, it's minor differences, right? Just continuity differences. This is a major update, and I do think it's the only one like that. So, I'll have to weigh my options on that. See, the thing is that now when I listen to the plain version, it sounds like it's missing something, right? I mean, the instrumental part of the vocal version is much more built, and if I do any further mixing, it's just going to build it up. I didn't do a lot of the things I was considering doing. It's really just a straight. Well, I mean, I did the treble boost, but I mean, like it's. I didn't find I really needed any extra shaping, but I haven't had a good rigorous listen either. So this is going to be my decision for the next couple of hours. It's hot in here. I can't turn that heater off. I'm not sure if we even talked about that, but that heater froze on Wednesday night, and I haven't been able to turn it off since. So it's kind of warm in here. And there's not anything I can do about it. So I'm just going to go listen, and I'll let you know when I figure that out.